Alrighty everyone, before we begin, I just want to very quickly give a special thank you to all the kind commenters and all that on the prior video. I mean it when I say thank you, and I'm only doing this because of you guys. Your support is incredible. I am a mess, a bundle of nerves when it comes to change. I don't like big changes. So I was incredibly nervous posting that prior video, because I know, understandably, most of you guys aren't going to be a big fan of that sort of format, but it be that way. So thank you guys so much for all the kind words and support. I will continue to do what I can, and I'll try to continue to make this as painless as possible. And with that, let's get into it. No more rambling, at least on this side of things. For some small hint of continuity, first clip here is gonna be of our new little AI dude that'll be here someday, I guess. This normally would have been put near the back with the others. Amarok was playing as AI creatures for a little bit, and he brought out this little guy at one point. It's still making the exact same sounds, so I didn't bother putting those in. There's not much point in it having to fight the copyright stuff just to hear the same two sounds we've heard. It's not worth it. So it's going to be silent for a little while here. There's one clip, however, I'll keep the sound in for one of these AI bits, but we ain't there yet. So anyway, it doesn't seem to have idles or movement of any kind. He did try to fly, but it wouldn't let him. But yeah, still interesting to see the little guy. A little bit of a better view than the last time, like tiny bit better, but anyhow. The clip after him running around as one was him having some attracted to a corpse, so it seems they're actually kind of working this time around. They fly over to it as like 2 pixels. They're super tiny. I had to try my best to zoom in, but even then they're kind of hard to see. And then they fly off, and he comments that, oh, I don't want to be testing those guys just yet. And that was about all he said on that matter. I guess he's still working on them. At least they went to the body this time. After that, Compy time! Normally I wouldn't have put this in, we've already seen plenty of compies, but this time they're in plain view, so it's kind of nice to actually be able to see them. Their little hops are really cute, you know, little tiny compy things. They skitter around, they hop, they eat, that's about it. Not much on them. Part 2 of Compy Electric Boogaloo is him chasing some compies, and they do make a sound here, so I'm gonna pause here. Let you guys hear their screams, and then continue onward. But yeah, that was him attacking some compies. It played the combat music too, which I found kind of amusing. Like, I haven't played much around the time the music has come in. I don't know if I played it all when the music had come in, come to think of it. Regardless, it's funny for a little itty-bitty thing to be triggering the combat music. I just found it kind of amusing. After that, CARNO pushing doors. He tried to push the human-sized itty-bitty door. He couldn't get that to work. I don't know if it's even supposed to work because CARNO's so giant. And then he went to the big, like, bar door, and he was able to push that one open, squeeze on through, and then he ran around and killed a boar or something like that. It was nothing interesting. After all of that, however, is a rather long portion, it seems, and this is just what I'm assuming. I think he was testing the various quality settings with the plants and stuff. He was also poking at the plants every now and again, little bits of that. But a lot of it seemed to be testing what each plant looked like under different, you know, quality setting sort of thingy-majiggies. It went on for a decent amount of time, and he did this again later on, but I kept this one only because there's no point in seeing the second one. I mean, he already did it. There wasn't any point in it. And then after Plantland, my favorite part, well, second favorite actually, we're gonna get to my favorite last because it leaves the test level. My second favorite part is the Dino skin gotcha for AI. Yeah! I know a lot of you guys aren't a fan of the Dino AI. I rather liked it. What little I encountered of it. Most of my experience was with just the Dryos. I think I saw a CARNO AI once? Or was it a Utah? Honestly, I'm struggling to remember if I even encountered the carnivore AI when it was in. It wasn't in too terribly long, so I don't think I ever did see it. I think I remember encountering Tonanto AI once. At least it was in the distance. I remember hearing it. But I don't know for sure if I ever encountered the CARNO AI. But here's hoping it comes back in. It doesn't seem to be a heat-seeking missile anymore, but we'll get to that in a moment. For now, it's Skin Gotcha, and each one looking absolutely beautiful. Let's go through this bit by bit as best we can, because editing, we'll see how it goes. There were a few skins I was quite fond of. There's this dark one, this dark CARNO, like right here. I'm gonna try and point to it. We'll see how it works out. And then there was an orangey, reddy CARNO that looked kind of amusing. But the dark one that he focused on was pretty cool. And then after that batch, there was another batch of randomized CARNOs, and there's a reddish and blackish one that pops up for like a second when he switches over elsewhere. I'll try and pause on that. And then there's another brown CARNO, just brown. After that was Utahs. There's not a whole lot to say about the Utahs. I mean, some of them look kind of nice, like the one right up front while he's zooming around. I like dark colors. Utah's probably one of the few I would actually possibly play the female on because the lack of the stripe, but I haven't played Utah in like eons, so I don't know. After Utah was Dryo. Yay! It was incredibly difficult to see any difference here whatsoever until he zoomed like right on over. But, I mean, I guess it's Dryo in the end. Not much to say on that. Dinosaur was very noticeable. Like, dang, they're very different from each other, so that was pretty interesting. I like the one with the stripes on its tail. Kind of reminded me of a baby in some ways, but it was really nice colors. I like that one a lot. The rest looked kind of muddy, but I mean, it's a Dinosaur. And then after that was I think it was, oh, Hipsy. It was Hipsy. The black and white one, I love it. Chef's kiss. Beautiful Hipsy. 10 out of 10. I would totally play that Hipsy for like 2 seconds and then get consumed or something. This is my actually my first time seeing the female one, so that was interesting. And then Packy was after that. Not a whole lot to say on the Packies. One had like an orange head, so that was kind of funky. Aside from that, nothing really catches my eye. I don't have any Packy grades to give out for their skins. No fashion there. After that was Stego. And I think there was just one that stood out, the orangey one. Yeah, there it is. And then he starts running around. Like that one of all the Stegos, just zoom. He was gone. Just out of here. I don't know why he ran. Maybe there's some herd limit thing. Don't know, but he just zoomed off. Then there was Pteranodon. Again, not too much to say on these guys. Granted, they were constantly moving and it was kind of hard to see the skins, but they had differences for sure. Just nothing stuck out to me. And then finally, we have the beautiful, not really, Tonantos. Some of them again kind of looked like mud. So I'm not too impressed there. I think Tonanto has some bluish colors it can get, but there was nothing really interesting in this batch. At least not to my eyes. I like the black one, but nothing really stands out, you know. Black one was kind of cool though. So it's better than nothing at all, like Packy over there. Alrighty, with the skin gotcha over, now we move on to the real neat part. So he was testing the Dino AI again, and this is the first I've seen of it in, I don't know how long, quite a while. It seemed he had just completely stopped working on it for the longest time, and now he's back to working on it. Don't know. He stares at a CARNO for quite some time here, and then eventually he goes down to visit it. And he kind of pokes and prods at it, I assume trying to get it to react. He hides in some bushes. Maybe the bushes worked? It's a bit hard to tell, AI being AI. Like, the CARNO didn't, like, completely lock on, so to speak. You know how the boars and stuff were, and I heard the CARNOs were the same when they were AI. How they just lock on to you and they just never let you go and you just run to death, basically. It doesn't seem to be a case like that anymore, so that's a good thing to see. It does make me wonder where the Utah AI from eons ago went, because, like, a year or two ago, I don't remember how long it's been. I don't even know if I was doing the videos yet or not, but he was testing Utah AI, and they seemed to kind of interact with other Utahs. Like, they'd do little calls, they wouldn't immediately attack you, that sort of thing. I found that really interesting. It's off topic from the CARNO, but that's just what it reminded me of. CARNO AI looks nice. I mean, it's not heat-seeking missile anymore, which is already a massive improvement. Bushes maybe work, can't really tell from here. It might have some trouble hitting him, I couldn't quite tell. I mean, it eventually kills him, but I can't tell for sure if it's got some, you know, hitting problems. Which will remind me of things in Ark where, like, the snow owl, for instance, would have problems hitting some dinos, and it would be flying around them constantly and attacking, but never actually hitting. And then there were some big dinos, I think mod ones especially ran into this problem, where things would be at their feet, and the tiny little thing at its feet would just slowly kill it. I saw a Jurassic Park Spinosaurus from the Jurassic Park mod thingy die to a little Horarosaurus because the Horara just sat there biting at its feet, and the Spino kept trying to hit it, just standing there biting at air, and it couldn't reach the Horarosaurus, and it just eventually died. It took all 9,000 health from that Spino. I'll have to see if I have the footage from that. If I do, it'll go up eventually, but I don't remember if that's from the batch that I got rid of or not. Anyway, stream-wise, that was about it for the interesting stuff. The rest is just gonna be the, him playing as the boar and stuff, but I'll talk a little bit more about the stream as that plays in the background. Overall, more interesting, at least to me, than the prior one. The prior one was mostly standing around and testing the Compy. This one, I like seeing the skins tested. I really enjoy seeing the different skins that come out from what I assume is just, you know, a randomizer and then they're spawned in. But it's still neat to see what kind of stuff pops out. But that's just me. That's one of the reasons I play Ark, to see all the different, like, patterns and colors on the dinos and stuff. And no, I don't mean the neon ones. I don't like those either. I mean the, I like some of the nice colors, like some blues I like. Gee, I never would have guessed I like blue. But I prefer just general darker, more natural colors. Usually, like, sometimes there's some really obnoxious ones that I'm a fan of. I'm sure that'll be in footage somewhere or another, I don't know. So I liked seeing that. It was a little bit more interesting than just the little Compy thing again. And then after that I really, really enjoyed seeing the Dinosaur AI again. I know people weren't a fan of them, but to me I really enjoyed them, especially because there's a lot of times, because of the times I'd play, where the servers I'd choose would be empty. Because I play late at night, and no way am I gonna go to an EU server, so usually there's like maybe 5 people, maybe, and it's like, well, I'm probably gonna starve to death if there's no AI. But nothing's probably going to kill me, so it's just a free grow session, basically. Which I took advantage of plenty in Legacy, let me tell you what. Most of my Rexes were grown off in the northern land somewhere, and I would just sit there while I was doing something else in another tab. I'd get up, drink, eat, and then go sit back down. And I'd usually spend my night doing that, so when the day came around and my friends were online, or the next night, or whatever, whenever it turned out to be, I'd have a larger thing ready to help protect them and help them grow and stuff like that. Then I could be a little bit more adventurous, because otherwise you're just... yeah, I mean, being a baby sucks. We all know how it is. But anyway, I liked seeing the Dinosaur AI, and it looked a lot better than, you know, just point-and-shoot style AI like what's in Ark. Gonna keep going back to Ark. A lot of you guys know what Ark is like, so it's just the easiest comparison. It's point-and-shoot AI, the most basic AI you can get. It sees you, it attacks you, or it runs away. That's about it. I mean, there's some later on where they'd come up to you and be friendly, or they'd be upset only if you were wearing certain things, or had certain things in your inventory, or whatever. But generally speaking, it's still at its core point and shoot. Like, it sees you, it goes after you. The CARNO seemed to break aggro, or at least back off at times. And it would act a little strange at times, which, by strange I mean not constantly attacking. Or it would sometimes attack, but it would attack around its area, as if it was figuring the player was going to go after it or something. Like, it could just be seen as a ditzy CARNO being stupid because AI is stupid. But I found it more interesting than, again, point and shoot, where it just chases you forever and ever and ever, and you're never able to do anything about it. So that was nice to see. And it seemed to almost stick near the carcass, which was also really neat. I'd like it, especially if there's, like, I don't mean to bring up Serato, but if there were Serato AI sometime, it would be really neat if they were to prioritize carcasses and stuff like that. Especially if Serato has, like, a very powerful nose for picking up stuff, which sounds familiar. I almost want to say there has been talk about, you know, if there's a carcass, Serato's gonna find it, sort of thing. I don't remember fully anymore. It's been a long time. But if there were ever Serato AI, it makes me think of something like that, where it would chase you off, but it would go back to the carcass. So it would chase you to a certain point, and then it would kind of meander on back and do its own thing and eat its food. I find that really interesting. It almost looked like that's what the CARNO was doing at times. I don't know if that's what it was actually doing. I don't know if that's what it's intended to do. I don't know any of that. But to me, when I first watched this, while I was editing it over, that's what it looked like it was doing. So I found that pretty cool. It's miles, leagues, eons better than, ooh, I'm gonna chase after you until I either break line of sight, or you can't run anymore. That sort of thing. So, I liked seeing that. It was nice to see. Whether or not it's going to be like that in the game, who knows. Because again, we saw that fancy Utah Raptor AI way back when, where it would like interact with you and do other stuff other than hunt you down for miles and miles. But when it was in the game, as far as I'm aware, it was just point and shoot. Again, gotta keep saying that it's just the easiest way to describe it. Just, it sees you, it locks on, and it won't let go, Jack. It just won't. But that's the stories I heard. And the boars. I heard that about the boars way back, too. From what I understand, they're not as bad now. And he does get chased by a boar while he was playing as the goat. So it doesn't seem like it's quite as bad as it was in the past, but yeah. Anyhow. So it looks better. I was happy. I liked watching it. These sorts of AI streams are the ones that get me interested. I enjoy seeing the things like the Dinosaur AI interact with their environment, look around. I mean, for the most part, the CARNO seemed to just idle when nothing was in the area. I don't know if they'll patrol or what, but he was after or killing a boar at the start, and I don't know if it spawned with a carcass or if the CARNO actually hunted it, I'm not sure. But it was eating something at the start, some sort of piggy-wiggy. And so that was kind of interesting. Even if it did just spawn in with a carcass and it would just protect it, I find that fascinating. It gives it something else to do. it looks better than the AI just kind of standing there going, now what? What do I do? Like, at least the Dryos kind of moved around, but the Carno just kind of sat there. Don't know if that was the intent, or, like, for testing purposes, or what have you, but yeah. It was nice to see it seem to protect the corpse. I'm gonna say it again, I don't know if that's what it was doing or not. That's what it made me think of, because he got close and it chased him off, but then it would circle back to near where the corpse was. Again, don't know if that's the intent. That might never even make it. But if that was the intent, and if that is how it ends up acting, I like that a lot. So that's cool. Aside from that, I don't really have much to say. There's the plant stuff with the textures, and that's pretty neat, I guess. It's the other longest file aside from their section, I should say. Aside from the skin gotcha, which was quite a while. But, yeah. Fun stuff. Very interesting. Nice to see it. And with that, I would like to once again thank everyone for your kindness, your great comments, and all that other stuff. It really does help out a lot. I don't reply very often these days. It gets a little, I don't know if overwhelming is the right word. But maybe it is. It's something along those lines. It just gets to be a little bit too much at times. With work and everything else, I find it a little bit difficult. It's taxing, I guess I could say. Not to say I don't like doing it, because I really enjoy responding to comments, and I'll do it a little bit more often on videos that have fewer comments on them, so yeah, maybe overwhelmed is the right word. I don't know, man. I've said a million times I didn't expect the channel to get this big. And I'm not good with large groups of people. I never have been. It's just not my thing. I stick to my own little corner. If YouTube were a big party, there'd be the big personalities all hanging in the middle and where all the party stuff happens. And I'd be off in the corner consuming food or a drink or something like that. That is more my thing. But anyhow, what I mean to say is thank you guys a lot. It does mean a lot. Again, putting it into words is a little bit difficult, but I am very, very grateful. And even if I don't end up responding to all of it, I don't think I'll be able to get to that. I did read through it, and I was very happy that in general you guys were okay with everything. It's fine. And I'm very thankful. I don't want to keep using grateful again and again. Vocabulary dwindling. But yes, I've said a few times, I think in Q&A stuff, that basically the only reason I do this anymore is because of the people who, you know, drop the kind comments and are supportive and all that, because in general my friends have checked out. They're not interested anymore. So it hasn't been for them in quite a long time. I'd say a few months now. So it's only for you guys now. And I guess for my own personal archive as a side note, because I do enjoy archiving stuff like this. I've mentioned I'm one who enjoys things like leaks and concept art and all the stuff that happens during a development and all that stuff. I follow IDV closely, as you probably could have guessed. That's probably going to be playing on the screen right about now because it's the game footage I have in most. I can get it easily. I play it every day for a little bit. It's probably my only little downtime in general. But it's fun to see when there are times where, be it the company or someone who represents the company, will post something and then immediately yank it back, be it because it was posted ahead of time or because it had the wrong information attached to it or something. There was a case way back where they were going to introduce a new survivor and a new hunter, but it wasn't going to be for quite a while. and somehow, some way, both of them ended up being posted by the company's Instagram or something like that. And it had all this information attached to it. And so, of course, the screenshot gang they just went wild. They went nuts. They screenshotted everything on there. And it got yanked down within a few minutes, if I remember right. But the damage had been done. And so those screenshots were going around for a while. And there would be... It was quite common where the tweet or whatever, the post that posted it would end up getting DMCA or something. But again, the damage had been done. It was circulating way too much for them to be able to stop it. But I point this out because sometimes in the time where something like that is leaked and the time that it actually gets released, things get tweaked and things get changed. And why I bring this up now is because sometimes the devs will say stuff regarding the Isle again, sorry. That, you know, this dino will be this way. And then by the time it actually comes out, it's quite different. Dinosaur, I think, is probably a pretty prime example of this. Very early on, the devs repeatedly would say he would not have a diet because he's stuck in the water. He's waterlogged, if I could speak. He can't pick and choose. He gets what he gets. He can't go wandering for miles and choosing what he is able to eat, so Dinosaur will have no diet. Well, as we know now, they ended up changing that. So it now has a diet, and I still am not quite sure why that was changed. It doesn't quite make sense. But I don't play Dinosaur, so it's not my problem. I don't care. But I did find that interesting. It's archiving things like that I find very fascinating. And then things in streams as well. Sometimes you'll see an animation that ends up different later on. Or something that just doesn't quite make it. I can't think of examples right now, but I'm sure there have been plenty. I know animations for sure have been tweaked. There was an example animation, I think it was in Phase 2 for the Utah? I think it was the sniff way back when. And people every now and again would be like, hey, are we ever gonna get this sniff animation? And if I remember right, the devs almost seemed confused when we brought that up because I thought one of them almost thought that it was in the game and it wasn't. I don't remember how that all went down. You guys probably do. I've been looking at so much stuff, it all starts to kind of melt together. And so it's hard to keep it straight sometimes. But anyway. The archiving, I enjoy keeping that sort of information and then comparing it to what happens later. It's just interesting to me. That and sometimes things get nuked completely. Like, for example, the Discord. It got just completely destroyed. The general chat, for whatever reason, was just removed. I know they gave a reason, but it was a stupid reason, so I'm just gonna say for whatever reason, it was removed. I don't know what the exact actual reason would have been. The one given didn't make sense. But anyway, so all of those posts from a certain point on were just gone. Whether that was to prevent something that was going around that they didn't want go around, maybe they just got tired of all these posts that were back there and people kept dragging them up, I don't know. But they were all nuked a while back, and I know I have a fair few from that time. I think I've kept all of the ones I've ever used in videos, all in a file. I don't look through them much at all, but times like this when I'm talking about, say, the Dinosaurus diet, for instance, I'll try to go through and get the post that mentions it. I think that one I have handy because I was going to do a video that showed that way back, but then I never got around to it, and yada yada. Anyhow, the point of all this was, generally speaking, all of this done now is for the people who have been so supportive and kind and, you know, who rely on this channel and make all the kind comments and all that stuff. Even the crummy comments. I mean, if you're watching, then hey, you're welcome to it. the game gets frustrating, watching its development gets frustrating, I understand. It's a mess sometimes. All the comments are welcome. That's why I don't moderate them. Granted, I'll report any of the spam I see, of course, because duh. But unfortunately, YouTube isn't very good at picking up spam. But if I put it on, like, allow limited comments, quote-unquote, it will probably catch actual people's comments, which already happens even without any of the moderation on. And I don't want to do that to people, so I just leave it as it is. But anyway, I'm very, very grateful for all the support and everything, and I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to watch everything, even with the big changes and all that. And for continuing to stick around and all that fun stuff. All of this is for you guys now. I mean, my archiving, I could live without it, and I probably would have. There's been a few times where I've been like, you know, do I want to do this right now or at all? But yeah, I do. For all you guys who still rely on this stuff, which is quite a few. Because these streams show at stupid times and people have lives and sleep and work and all that fun stuff. Anyhow, I think I've rambled for quite a while now. So certainly a long video, but I mean, the stream points were there, so you can tap out at any time. The rest of it's just purely there to further itself from just being another stream pasta, I guess. I'll always have rambly points at the end about summaries and whatever else is going on. That sort of stuff. I almost told a story about feeding my pet snake today, but there's no reason to do that. I've already gone on long enough. It is time for me to call it good, edit all this stuff, and free it into the wild. So thank you all again. Have a wonderful day, night, whatever time it is. And I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye!
Thank you.
There. Oh. Why do I sound like a raptor? What's up? Hello.